This is probably going to be the longest live meeting we have, just depending on what we're doing. But we need to do a live meeting online once a week. I'm going to have some form of live meeting probably every day, and I'll let you know as we go. So I will both email you and I will post in Google Classroom. So look in both places. I know some of you don't check your email, or some of you don't really check your Google Classroom sometimes. Please check. I will send something out the night before usually. So check in the morning and see if we're going to have a Zoom meeting online. I'm going to be letting you know what you're going to be doing. I already know right now we will be having on Thursday, we'll be having an online meeting, but towards the end of class. Haley's just popping up. Towards the end of the class, we'll have a meeting because I'm going to give you an assignment today. We're going to talk a little bit about that assignment and what we're going to be doing overall for the next 6.5 weeks. As far as a final, there's not really a final per se, but there is a test that you will be taking for certification, and hopefully they don't cancel it. My other classes that we've had tests for certification, and it's just for, it won't count against you in any way. It's just if you pass it, then you get this certificate that says Toon Boom Harmony and Storyboard. And we're going to try to work towards that. That's what the MSI K-12 is for. As I said, the other classes we're supposed to use something called precision exams, and those have been canceled because they say you need a prompter. However, this MSI K-12 is an online thing, and we use that as our last classes to go ahead and take those quizzes. Don't stress out over it. We're going to be focusing a lot on MSI K-12, but you will be able to have access to Toon Boom Harmony and Storyboard. Hopefully your computers work out that you can use it. Anybody that has the Mac operating system, if you have Catalina, you might wind up having some issues with it. The Mac OS Catalina, which is 10.15. I was able to install Toon Boom Harmony on my computer, and then I tried to install Toon Boom Storyboard, and it wouldn't let me because of some things that they did with the Catalina operating system. So I actually had to revert my system back to Mojave. Now, I happen to be pretty computer savvy, and I am not going to require any of you to mess with your computer in the way that I did in order to make this work out. So that's not required at all. For those of you that have missed assignments and want to raise your grade, we'll have a conversation. Please let me know. It looks like Maddie has a question. And Maddie, what's your question? Go ahead and say it or type it. Yes, no, maybe. I'll stand by to look at your question. I saw you raised your hand or checked a button. I sent instructions to you for the download of that. If you are running a Windows computer, what you're going to do is, in fact, I'll just share my screen for a second here and click on that link. Let's see. So you have here's your on your Google Classroom. Here's a little board, a little post about that. And you have this link right here to download Harmony, and then below it you have the link to download Storyboard. There are only 65 licenses, which is just enough to cover our classes. So please do not share this with a friend. You'll really mess me up if you do that. I had to go through a lot of trouble to prove that I had a certain amount of students. And I had to get a couple of extra programs for my computer, a couple extra links, which I've already used for my home computer program. So please do not share this. This is just for students that are in these classes. You go ahead and you click on that link, and you're going to come to here, Harmony Premium 17, you'll see right there, and then it has 1, 2, and 0. Just download, oops, I clicked the wrong one, but click on the latest one. And when you do it between now and then, whenever you do it, if it goes to 17.0.3, go ahead and click on that. There are 3 files here, .exe, the one that ends in .exe is for Windows-based computers. The one at the bottom, DMG, is for Mac-based computers. And this Linux one, you'll see it says LNX in the middle. Linux is the operating system that Mac actually works off. It's a TGZ file. I believe you'll be able to use it for Mac, but don't bother with that. Use the DMG file for the Mac. And just the same thing over here for, get out of my way. Here for Storyboard, it's just going to come to this, and you have, you'll notice that you'll have two .exe files. One is a later version than the other. I'm not sure of the difference, but I would try going ahead with the most recent one, which is this problem. I don't personally have a Windows-based computer, so I can't tell you which is the most proper one, but go ahead and try this one. And if that doesn't work, go ahead and try the other one. And again, DMG files, same thing. Go ahead and do the 476 instead of the 295 file. Once you get in, please read the instructions that I put in Google Classroom. Right at the top, it says very, very important. Do not double click on the program once you install it. So you have to download it, then you go through the process of installing it. If anybody has specific questions about installation, please contact me. If nobody else in your household can help you install something. But once you install it, then you have the program on your computer. Normally what most of us do, at least what I do, is I'll double click on a program to open it. It opens up. The first time you open up a Toon Boom program, do not do that, especially on a Mac. What you want to do instead is use your mouse to right click if you have the right click function on a mouse, which you definitely would on a Windows computer. On a Mac, you may or may not, depends on how your mouse is set up. If you don't know about that, you could go into the upper left-hand corner for the Mac users, upper left-hand corner, there's an Apple icon, and then open up System Preferences and look for the mouse, and there's options in there. If you have more questions about that, again, feel free to email and ask me that. But right-click on Windows, and if you don't have the right-click function, you use Control on your keyboard. You press down Control, hold Control with your finger on your keyboard, and then click. You'll get a drop-down menu, and at the very top, I believe, it'll say Open. Click on that Open the very first time you do this. Then when you go through the process of licensing information, I'm going to go back. I'll have to do it with my other computer because it won't let me do it on this computer. I'm going to see if I could create a video tutorial to show you, but basically you're clicking on the top function. I think it's like single activation. I think you do single activation and then internet are the buttons that you'll click. It gives you options, but I believe it's the top one each time. I believe. I'll double check that and let you know if you have any problems. If you do not do that right click thing and open, you will probably have issues. One more people join. Okay, so that's that for installing Adobe Harmony and Storyboard Pro. We're not going to do a ton of stuff on it. I did give you guys the options. I sent out emails, at least 3, that said you can check out a tablet. Is there anybody, type in the chat for me, please, that wanted a tablet that did not get a tablet? Okay, it looks like that wasn't a problem. So if you have a tablet, you're going to go to the Wacom website, and let me see, I pulled that up in the last class. Let me see if I still have it here. I'll give you the link right now, and I'll actually also attach that to, no, I didn't. I'll attach that to an informational thing in Google Classroom. But if you just type in Wacom drivers in your Google search engine, you'll get that as well. Here it is. And the particular product that you have for anybody that did the Intuos, that picked up one of those the old version of the tablets. This, I believe, is the version that you will be downloading a driver for. Download and install the driver before you attach it, and then it should work. If you do have any problems, again, you'll email me. If you need to email me, you'll email me at jmagadman@centerusd.org. There's that information. Now, let's move on to what we're going to be doing, focusing on right now, which is that MSI K-12. If you have not already done chapters 1 and 2, you should have finished those before we were booted out off campus. You need to go back and do those MSI K-12s, okay? For chapter 1 and 2. Right now we are on chapter 3. That's where what we're moving forward with. You're going to sign on today with a little bit of time you have left at the end of the class. You only have to do the hour the 10 to 11 hour. That's the only time you have to be working on stuff. Same thing on Thursday. On Thursday, you're going to come back. We're not going to get online immediately. You jump into MSI K-12 and continue working on it. Now, it's your own time. If we have a meeting at 10:50 on Thursday and you decide today you want to finish that chapter 3 and you do it on your own, great. It's however you want to do it. Just you have to finish MSI K-12. You're going to have a test, a quiz at the end of it. It's relatively open book in that you have the ability to look on MSI K-12. I'll tell you this right now, though. 6 of the 10 questions are directly from the chapter. I'm sorry, from chapter 3, the chapter 3 quizzes. Any of the quizzes you have, you're going to go ahead and look at those quiz answers. If you get it wrong, don't worry, on MSI K-12, don't worry, that's not going to affect your grade in this class. But if you get it wrong, make sure you know the right answer, write it down somewhere, because 6 of those questions are on the quiz. The other 4 questions I've drawn from the information in the text. By the way, I forgot to mention this to the last class. One of the pages on MSI K-12, one of the quizzes, is just royally messed up. And the way that they set it up, it's one of those fill in the blank, like you have on the right side of the screen, you'll have a bunch of words and then there's text in the middle and it has like drag and drop into the blank spaces. And it's so incredibly confusing. I had a really, really hard time with it. So you want to, when you get to that, just play around with it. It's going to tell you you're wrong. Try again. I did not use any of those quizzes for any of those. That particular quiz I didn't use on the quiz that I created. So I still want you, because you're going to be taking this test at the end of the year, to make sure you understand that page. What I would do is a screen.
Well, I'm in a class now.
What I do on my computer, I can hit, I think it's Command-Shift-4 on my computer, and then I get this little plus sign. I have a Mac, and then I could drag a box around it and take a snapshot of it. In fact, I think I did take a snapshot of it, and I'll try to post that page online with the correct answers, but I'm gonna wait till next week to do that because I want you to attempt it yourself to see how well you do on that particular quiz. Again, that's not going to be in my quiz for you. You'll have 6 questions from the MSI K-12 Chapter 3 and then another 4 questions, which includes something we're about to talk about right now, which is animating in 2 different styles. One's called straight ahead, the other is called pose to pose. And one of the books that I've had is called, this is going to show backwards to you, but I just want you to see the cover and I'll tell you what it says. It says The Animator's Survival Kit by Richard Williams. For any of you that are really into animation, I know some of you are just in it because you had to take a class or it sounded interesting, and that's okay. But for any of you that are really into the idea of animation, I would highly recommend this book. I have a lot of books on animation, and well, I have a lot of books on drawing actually, because I used to really love to draw, and of course now I get to get back into it. And then I picked up this book on animation and one other book. This one's phenomenal. So I posted that there as well, The Animator Survival Kit by Richard Williams. It's not cheap, but you could get it online. If you go to some place like Thrift Books or Half Price Books, you could get it much cheaper. Get a used version in good shape rather than get a new version, which I think is like $40 or something like that. So what I'm about to show you, I'm going to share my screen again with you, and we're going to go through pose to pose because MSI K-12 Chapter 3 touches upon it and asks about it, but it's something that's very important that I don't think they explain very well. In fact, to be quite honest, I'm kind of disappointed. I don't think it's terrible, but I don't think it's great. I don't think MSI K-12 is great. I think they have a lot of cleaning up to do to